Some people have all the luck. Is that something you've said? I know I have. Even in my young acting career, I was always made aware of how hard it was to make it. Having the talent is one thing, but being in the right place at the right time still seems to be the mantra for having a successful acting career. Now, listen, sure, we can be fatalistic and assume that everything happens for a reason, but do we really believe that? Do we really trust the notion that we can only do so much? Let's talk. It's time we analyze being in the right place at the right time. This is the podcast for actors. We call it Casting Actors Cast.
It's time for another episode of Casting Actors Cast, insights for actors from a casting director. Here he is, your host, Jeffrey Dreisbach.
Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of Casting Actors Cast. I'm casting partner Jeffrey Dreisbach with the McCorkle Group in New York City. How are you? I hope you're having a good day. I'm having a great day, especially that you're here. I'm really looking forward to sharing about this subject, the actor's idea about right place at the right time. But first, this is that moment of the podcast where I simply get to say thank you for tuning into Casting Actors Cast. You know, it's your writing to me, it is your feedback, it is your reviews, it's sharing that has really made all the difference in making this a podcast that has now received over 100,000 downloads. I can't be and couldn't be more happy and excited to continue doing this podcast. As long as you're out there doing the podcast, I'm going to keep on doing it as well. So thank you for that. By the way, this is my moment of the podcast where when I say thank you, I want to give something back for all the good things you've done for me. I want to give something back. And that is, if you go to the website, castingactorscast, all1word.com, there's a form that says dive into the talent pool. And when you do that, filling out that form by giving me your name and your email address. By the way, I don't do anything with that. That's just information that I keep and hold on to. On occasion, I might send out an announcement about an upcoming episode or something like that. But I promise you, I don't spam you. I don't try to chew up your bandwidth. But when you fill out that form, another menu will open up, and that'll provide some freebies if you're interested. One is a book I wrote on doing voiceover work called Conversation Pieces Out of the Studio, the voiceover workshop for professional actors. Additionally, there's a free video called Casting Secrets, What They Don't Tell You. It's an exclusive video only for those people who fill out the form. You might want to listen and watch that, check that out. I did that 2 or 3 years ago, and people are still making comments about how much they're enjoying the freebies that I'm providing. Finally, here's my shout out to my good friends at Actors Connection, actorsconnection.com/New York, doing all kinds of amazing online programming. One of the things that's happening on the release date of this, which is a Thursday, on this coming day after tomorrow, gosh, my brain, tomorrow night at Actors Connection, if you're getting this on the day that we release it, there is a 2-hour seminar I am giving on self-tape. So if you want some information on how to do a really awesome kick-butt self-tape, go to actorsconnection.com/New York. It's from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you there if you're interested. It'd be really cool. And please, if you don't mind, continue the reviews, the likes, the shares. Become a subscriber wherever you get your podcasts. It just means the world to me. And of course, it helps my numbers, which makes it even more fun. All right, that's all the housekeeping I have to do. Let's jump in to this subject matter, right place at the right time. I think we first have to take a look at why actors assume success is something we have no control over. In other words, it's just something that happens. For some others, it's something that never happens. So when we take a look at that, I think the number one reason that we believe that we have no control over our future as an actor is it really stops the pain of self-reflection or self-doubt. Instead of looking on the inside about what could I have done better, I think actors spend a lot of time in saying, oh, well, that's just luck. That's just the luck of the draw. That just happens. It's something else that I have no control over, and people are just plain lucky. Well, we're going to take a look at that. We're going to find out and investigate that thought process just a little bit more in just a second. Other additional things that we think about is that there are outside influences that we have no control over as far as our career is concerned. For example, when you go to an audition and later on you find out, oh, well, the director worked with the actor that they hired before, and so he wanted to work with that actor again. So that's why you didn't get the part. So we decide that there are these outside things that make the difference between whether we get cast or not. Now, there's a reality to that. There's a truth to that. But what do we do with that information? Does it piss us off? Does it create anger and or resentment or both? Those are the things that I think can have a detrimental effect on us and our careers. Another thing is that we feel that the universe is in charge. So there's nothing we can do. It is what it is. We just let it go. And because it just happens that way, we have nothing to do with it. And so therefore, we just have to accept whatever happens, whatever comes our way. And that's what I talk about in the introduction when I talked about being fatalistic. It's like, throw your hands up in the air and say, well, what are you going to do? So those are the three things I think that we bring to the table when we talk about being at the right place at the right time. But additionally, there are some perceptions about luck that we need to take a look at as well. The one perception is that we believe we are rarely lucky. That's something that happens to other people, certainly not to us. You buy a lottery ticket. You don't win. It doesn't matter that the odds are 100 million to 1. That's not relevant. What's relevant is it wasn't us. So we are the unlucky ones. So that's the thought process I think a lot of us bring to the table. We also think that people have, that certain something that is always visible. That person that has that little touch of additional charisma or that magical something that's really hard to define, and we don't have it. And so the fact that others have something we don't have is something we feel badly about. It's something we're not really feeling great when we recognize that certain something in others. Another perception is we turn our anger from loss into envy because we think, and I said we think, it is more manageable. It's so interesting to me that when an audition doesn't come your way or the callback went well and it didn't go your way, we don't want to live in that place that makes us feel badly. So we become envious of the other. We think, oh my gosh, they got it. I didn't. That is so much easier than looking from within to figure out what did we do wrong? What could we have done differently? Now, I'm not saying we should do that all the time because that can be exhausting. But I am saying keeping a perspective on being in the right place at the right time really means and demands that you keep in check those moments where you feel envious or those moments when you're angry because it didn't go your way. And that means that the reality check that I think we need to have about being in the right place at the right time is as follows. Number one, please understand and embrace that preparation meets opportunity, and that creates success, not luck. When you are prepared for the opportunity that shows up your way, that means that you've given yourself the optimum qualities and elements for success. That's what makes a successful moment, not that you were lucky. being in the right place at the right time, I'm not sure that there's any such thing. I think it's feeling prepared and putting yourself out there that creates success because it creates opportunities. Number 2, loss does not equate with having less talent. How did that fit with you? How did that sit with you, rather? How did that feel when you heard that? Just because you didn't get the audition does not mean you are less talented than the person that got the job. Boy, you know what? I spent so much time being envious or being angry at myself or being angry at the situation. Why didn't I ... fill in the blank? And it took me a long time to realize that just because I lost an audition does not equate with having less talent. I always believed that success was when you booked something. And you know what? I'm still learning, that is definitely not the case. And also, I think we should take a look at number 3. Not everything happens for a reason. Sometimes it just sucks. Sometimes just situational things happen that just happen. And for you to spend time in your head on that, I think is just a lot of wasted energy. And being a creative person means you can create a scenario or a world where you can just beat the hell out of yourself. So now let's talk about changing the perspective when it comes to being in the right place at the right time. First and foremost, we have to decide that we create our opportunities. And we create our opportunities through awareness, through our relationships, and that secret ingredient, that's simply, in my opinion, enthusiasm. Being enthusiastic about those opportunities, being aware of those opportunities means you do your work. You keep your ear to the railroad track to see what might be coming down the pike. You maintain excellent relationships with others in the industry. And the enthusiasm you bring to all of those arenas are going to help propel you and create opportunity. I've just seen it happen way too many times. I also think we really have to know that we have no control over certain things. To really know what we have no control over is really a healthy place, because you can move away from those voices in your head that keep on telling you that it just didn't happen your way because you're not good enough, because you're not right, because it went to somebody else, because they knew somebody else. That blah, 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 yada, 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 fill in the blank. I think we should also move on from there, and the way we can do that is trust that we are enough as long as we are moving forward. You see, it's the forward movement that maintains the energy, enthusiasm, and momentum of a career. Many creative people suffer with varied degrees of depression over this, me included. I'm not a psychologist, so I am not trying to dispense advice here, but I do know that we have defense mechanisms to rationalize our feelings. Saying that successful actors are just talent with luck is an easy way to not accept responsibility for our own journey. I think that knowing we are doing everything we can to move forward with our talent in career is so much healthier than pointing the finger at some unknowable reality. Of course, there always are going to be successes and missed opportunities. That's what makes such an interesting journey. Being at the right place at the right time is not magical. Its ingredients are perspective, work, and perseverance. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. This is Casting Actors Cast.
Thank you for joining Casting Actors Cast. I'm Megan Grace Martinez.